All right, welcome back to the end of day 5. What an incredible day it has been. You guys have been building habitats today, and I cannot wait to see your creations. Let us know in the comments how your habitats are going. I want to hear all about it. Let us know what you've been working on today. 91 points. Woo!
Awesome.
Way to go, Olga. I am so excited. So a few announcements about these things as you are working on wrapping up the end of this week. We have some special awards coming tomorrow at the award ceremony. And I want to make sure that you are eligible to win those awards. So if you go to the community on the learning platform, you will see several different places where you could submit for special awards, those being your team videos. Make sure you send in a team video. If you need to jump on Zoom with the rest of your team and film each other talking about what your big takeaways were from this week, what you're most excited about. Oh, the guest speakers talk about that too. We would love to hear about your experience this week in a team video. That is a special award for tomorrow. You need to get those submitted today. Okay. Other special awards are coolest ship design. Send us a picture of that. The biggest habitat that you're working on right now, send us a screenshot of the biggest habitat for a special award, and the team mission patches, if you haven't done one of those already. And last but not least, the most alien planet. If you do a flyover of your alien planet that's back on the first day, that is another special award. Now, also, I know you're competing against the other teams for the most points. We will be giving awards based on those points tomorrow at the award ceremony. You need to complete the activities to be able to get those most points for the highest score by 9:30 p.m. Central Time in the US, which is 7:30 p.m. in California, or 12:30 p.m. if you're in Australia, or 4:30 a.m. if you're in Egypt. Okay? So that is about 30 minutes before tomorrow's guest speaker. Make sure you have all the activities done. Wow, people are doing amazing with these habitats today. I am so impressed. You guys are incredible, and I hope you are having an amazing time. Speaking of amazing, Christy, we have another amazing guest speaker today.
Yes, they're very excited to get to visit with her.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to do a quick introduction and go ahead and bring her on. So today we have Professor Vera Muliani, and she is the founder and chief Marsitect, the creator of Mars City Design, Mars City Foundation. She is a Mars Systems Engineering professor at Loyola Marymount University and an inventor, as well as an expert in the method of innovation by combining art and science of nature. She is also an architect for luxury villas and involved in the design of the Louvre Museum in Paris. Incredible. Let's go ahead and bring her on, Professor Vera Muliani.
Welcome. Hello, everyone. Hello, Claire. Thank you so much. Hi, Christy. Hello. That was such a wonderful introduction, and I'm really envious with all the participants being able to design their habitats since a young age, because everything was new for me just 5 years ago. So congratulations. Y'all gonna surpass all of us together. Thank you, Neil. Neil has been very helpful. Astronaut Greg Shemitov has been also an ally for Mars City Design since we started. So I never can do this alone, and nor can any of us, because it's such a huge, endeavor, a huge dream for the unity of human species. Oh, Maddie. I'm just really, really grateful to be here tonight. So thank you so much for that. I hope I can, with this very limited time, offer you anything you need as a basic so that you could just design the way you love it, the way you dream your best habitat would be, but with the game rules of Martian conditions. So let's do it.
All right. Well, I'll
Hey.
go ahead and remove us and bring on your presentation. We cannot wait to get started.
All right. So since I'm not seeing anyone, forgive me if I look like I'm talking to myself. So Mars City Design is the name of my company with about 35 other people in the world. We're not that many, but quite many for just compared to just me alone to really unite and think and vision, just not just imagine, but really share and merge our ideas together and find a method that will make these very exciting, very useful for our Earth today as well. So to bring in more people, more new enthusiasts like yourselves, I create this educational platform version of Mars City Design called Mars City Foundation. And we would like to prepare you and all our next generations to thrive on Mars. So the idea is not just, going to Mars and survive with your limited potatoes and couple bottles of ketchups, and then what? I'm sure you're already trained with the existing phenomenal spacecraft apps right now, the software, and you're trained way better than all of us 5 years ago. But yeah, check out our program. You can email me later or let me know, let Greg know that you're interested in pursuing more of the Mars information, Mars activities that we have. So this is just an example of what we do after our workshops. So we have an annual workshops. The next one will be in mid-January. And what happened is during the workshop, we get together, we have a challenge. Like, for example, we give them the game rules like, okay, this year we're focusing on a Martian menu. And the next year, we're focusing on recycling the waste, for example. And then the year after, we're focusing on designing the cyborg part of your augmented body to be able to become an athlete climbing Olympus Mons, for example. And from all the response that the participants submitted, we have these beautiful designs. They're in 3-dimensional. They're also existing in, virtual reality. And the most exciting thing is, for example, the scents. I think I sent Greg the set of scents that we designed for astronauts. When they go to Mars, it takes 9 months of trip, and it takes 2 years for them to live there before they can come back, right? So the whole time is minimum 4 years trip to go and to come back. And that is if you're safe. You're safely and able to survive the years. But so you will miss, we're just imagining that we all will miss our family and our childhood. So, for example, when I was away from Jakarta, where I grew up, Indonesia, I was in Europe for about 12 years. And in between, I miss my hometown food, for example, my grandma's recipe, and also some scents. There are very unique moments in your childhood, for example, that you will always remember. You will subconsciously miss it, and you're subconsciously looking for it. And it's very psychological, but it helps to maintain your mental health when you're far away from home. So these are perfumes and scents that we formulated to make our astronauts feel like home. So there is one on your left corner here in the screen called Desert Rain. That's really my favorite because it's the smell of the monsoon, you know, when it's super hot and suddenly there is a thunder of rain. I'm sure if you're in Texas, you have experienced that. If you're in Southeast Asia, you're familiar with that. And there is a specific smell that make that, and we were able to formulate it and encapsulate it. And we are also able to make it a non-liquid version. So it's like a little tablet that they can just smell, so that with the zero gravity, it doesn't create any issues. And the one next to it, called the Major Tom spacesuit, it's actually interesting because I asked a few other astronauts about their experience. What does it smell? What does space smell like? And actually, after this session, I would like to ask Greg about his experience about that. From this particular astronaut, he said, our sense of smell is so inflamed that it was hard to smell anything. But he remembers something strong is, of course, when the colleagues sweat, when they did some exercise. At the same time, there is very unique smell that after his colleague did a space walk and he came back, the spacesuit smelled like cosmic burn, which is so unique. And because we're here on Earth, and we can only imagine how, we can only translate how cosmic burn would smell like for us. So with this artist, we actually put a drop of gasoline in the whole big mix that it makes it smell like Paco Rabanne in the 70s. I'm sure most of you don't know that because you're very young. You're not even born at the time. I wasn't even born at the time, but I think it's worth to smell it, just to guess how space smells. I think, most of these amazing concepts, imagination, ideas, what's important is to bring your unique story, your unique character as the element to translate what that idea is. That's what makes your project unique, not just following everybody else, not just redoing what is already out there, right? So that would be the most exciting thing in the future, is that each of us can express our own uniqueness into the project, and together you will make a team that will make it realistic and useful for most people. So I'm going to show you the most exciting part, that is the architecture that could be designed for Mars. And I'll just make the animation work. This is from the first year of Mars City Design Challenge, Karan Gandhi from Manchester in UK. His idea was to redesign the brain function, and it goes farther into the idea of cellular domes, where each dome connection becomes a place of activities. And this is from this year's competition about, designing a greenhouse on Mars. And they have different solutions, like this one from Giuseppe Calbrese from Italy. And his idea is to 3D print, make everything ready before we arrive. And this one is from Sylv Ruiman, who was inspired by the ancient style of architecture, imagining how he also sent the robots to create to put our habitat along inside the cliff. So it's not just 3D printing, but it's more like mix of excavation, mining machines, and elevator. And his argument was very interesting, about how it's important to protect ourselves from radiation, but it doesn't mean we have to be underground, right? So this is the project that we are working right now, our Mars City Design team, that will prioritize the 90% recycling of water use. And within every mission, we would like to have this cabin where astronauts would be able to adjust their mood. And, when we have anxiety and stress, we're able to consult with our home. And finally, not the least, but we are imagining how we can have the energy production facility set on Mars, not too far from Novalis Marineris, where we will have the habitat inside the cliffs. And this is to create a hydrogen clean fuel with the type of vehicle that would use the kind of fuel for the local transport. And of course, the wheel that is needed for going through all these rocks. And we are so proud to actually do that with our partners, Real Dream in Paris. So this is just to simplify, every work has its own sketch stage, and this is not the beginning of the stage, but it's after the process of thinking about your project become more simplified, so that you can bring in more people into your team and communicate what it is clearly. So if we look at how the architecture of the Martian environment would work, we're imagining also the context of time. So if you're sending your mission early of this technology time, you can imagine how people have to basically augment our performance before dying by the extreme environment of Mars. So we're thinking about, today, many disabled are already proudly using the augmented parts of their body, and some of them are able to perform better than us, for example. And yeah, the cyborg is probably something that will help us. For example, what if, the superhuman that are selected to go to Mars at the beginning actually have the additional help of parts of their body that make them breathe okay, even with very, very, very small supply of oxygen. That's just an example. And then the Mars backpack, meaning your suit is basically your habitat, so you depend only on that. And the 8th sense is the cabin that I showed you before. Basically, it's so important to also understand the connection between, the physical comfort, your mind, and your environment all should be connected. And the Mars colony X is when the habitat expand from the rocket that landed, and basically the rocket itself is the whole mission is already prepared to integrate the extended habitat. We could tell that this is phenomenal drawing of a rocket, right? So this is another system where the spaceship deploys a structure. And of course, the more we go towards this direction, the more actually the technology is not there yet. But there is no reason to limit our imagination because that's what makes us progress in the technology. So the three of them are actually very similar. It's born this way because we want to not limit ourselves from putting humans underground just to survive the meteorites, the cosmic radiation. So we talked about the Mars Olympia project that is carved into the cliffs, and others are actually 3D printing the structure on a surface and add more layers on top. So this last drawing is to show you the futuristic version of architecture where they think that we already surpassed all these issues of radiations and transportations, and we're able to build a city that is above the ground. So basically, it's very simple, right? We go from everything that is attached to your body, your suit, and then attached to your rocket, your transportation, like how we see RVs today, and instant structure that is an extension of your vehicle, and then more progressive, which is using the local material, and it's on the surface. And then this is the above the surface. So that was my very short presentation about this 5 years of research of Martian architecture. And I'm open for questions, but before that, I just want to announce this next event that we have as a workshop/festival. We will give you more information when about 2 weeks from now, we will give that announcement, but we would like you to be able to send us an email on this address, info@marscitydesign.com, so we're aware that you're interested and we can invite you for that. Lastly, the activities called the Future Alchemists is about teaching us how to repurpose our not just wearables, but when we go to Mars, the whole mission is designed, let's say, for 100 people. There will be all the supply to make sure that these people can survive to be on Mars and come back. So there is a lot there, but most of them at the moment, when you look at the space missions, most of them are disposable. So the idea is, can we actually rethink how to design these objects, this stuff that you bring? Imagine 100 people bring their stuff and use all these supply. It's going to be a lot of mess, a lot of waste. So for us, it's important to make the next generation be more familiar to how to use tangible objects, how to create more, long-lasting cycle of things, so we can reduce the waste that are all over the place on Earth, and hopefully with that effort of the whole generation, we're able to slow down the impact of climate change. And that's it for me. I'm open to questions now.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Vera. That was incredible to listen to. I'm still kind of geeking out because you somehow were able to make smells into something that I don't know, that like blows my mind. But I'd love for it to be commercially available because I would totally buy it.
Yes, we're working on that. It will probably start in Zurich, though.
Okay. Well, I'll fly there then.
And then on Mars.
Okay. Well, let's get started on answering some pre-submitted questions. The first question is, if you could go to Mars, what would you want to see first?
Nice, Zara. I would change the if to when. Too ambitious. When I could go to Mars, I would love to see the Valles Marineris, actually certain areas where I believe I could totally build my integrated into the cliff type of crystal house. And I'm also eager to find where Perseverance is. I would probably have a map of, voyage, discovery, or exploration to find where each rover has landed. So it's like a series of milestones.
Yeah, that would be an epic tourist adventure for sure.
Right.
All right, next question.
What inspired you to get involved with space design? From Chloe.
Thank you, Chloe. Good question. So I have always been, I think my mind has always been into design and imagination. I think design for me really means that this is what we see, but what do I really see that others don't? And how can I reveal that into something fascinating for others to see and enjoy at the same time? Because I really think, especially, we learned from this past 2 years of pandemic lockdown. Oh, I'm sure none of you experienced that, but we are animals of community, and it's so important for us to be connected creatively. So there is no artist that would design anything just to satisfy their own imagination. It's so important to create an art that welcome others to enjoy it as well. I don't know if that's clear. So when I was in a design class in the Beaux-Arts school in Paris, I was fascinated by this mentor who told me, okay, if you draw a circle, you're basically, as an artist, coloring only 1/3 of it, and the rest are open for public or for others to fill out. So otherwise, it's not an interesting art. With space, I think it's just another level of challenge that it called me to really ask myself, what can I do with what I know, and the fact that I love space so much, but there is no place for me because I'm not an engineer until, now I'm teaching engineering Master's of Science degree in Loyola Marymount University. I'm so grateful of that. But it was not accessible. So I had to create my own door. Basically, it's as if I have to bring my own door into a place that has no access and start from there. So it was just an adventure for me. Thank you. That was a long answer.
Wow, that's so good. Okay. How long does it take to build a building fitted for a specific habitat? From Benjamin.
Thank you. How long does it take to build a building fitted for a specific habitat? I may want to ask Benjamin to clarify what he means by specific habitat. You mean for Mars?
I would assume so.
Is there a way to have an interactive
Benjamin, if
response?
you're here, let us know.
I'll keep an eye on the comments. I'll be looking for it.
Okay. Well, if it's for Mars, for example, I want to stick to build a building fitted for a specific habitat. Maybe he was asking during my video. Is that possible? Because
yes.
then it depends on which moment, which habitat. But in general, there's a lot of research that is happening in different universities, actually, but also there are new companies that make 3D printing. The 3D printing now has been really advanced. The last one that we designed, we were printing the foundation as if we're making a cake. It was super fast. It was like 6 hours. We're able to print about 100 square foot, and it dries in 24 hours. So it's really, really impactful to also help, for example, the Earth scenario of disaster relief. But I don't believe in only one technological solution. I think there should be a combination of, inflatable habitat that on top of it, we can layer the plant-based wall, for example, made of mushroom, mycelium, exactly. And also, I'm really fascinated by mining, the mining world, how you just are able to somehow create a space. It's more like a sculpture work where you have the entire block and you start digging in volume out so you can gain space and live inside. I think that's what ants do, animals on the ground do, and that's missing in terms of interest in technology that is doing that, until of course Elon Musk did his Boring Company. But that's really important to pursue, I think, for Mars.
That's wonderful. So many different methods.
Yes, I hope I answered his question though, because it wasn't clear for me what he was really looking for.
Sure. All right.
What achievement are you most proud of?
Wow, Jasmine, that is very humbling question. I think the achievement I'm really proud of is that I can stand here and share this method of designing. Because I remember my dad was, because I lost him 4 years ago. It's really sad. He was a natural born artist, but because he had to take care of my mom and the four of us, he was never making his genius gift into career. And before I left home, he told me that I should never be an artist or I would starve. But I think there is always a way to celebrate your unique gift and integrate it in your passion, your dream, your career. It could be sometimes, be careful, because sometimes it's your parents' dreams or your sister's, hope that you're trying to please and accomplish. But it's not bad either if you're able to integrate your gift. So I guess it's a long answer again, but I'm proud of the fact that I can use my gift into what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that is a perfect lead in to this next question, which I thought was so good. Madeline says, have you ever been told that you can't do something? So you set goals and strive for it until you succeed.
That's right. Yep, that's exactly what I answered before. But the one goal that I still have not known how to do it is to make sure that when I'm on Mars, I have my noodle soup and popcorn. Because for now, I don't know if we have that technology, because that would be really, really fun.
All right. Well, maybe one of these participants will work on that for you.
Thank you, Madeline. Yeah. Yes, please.
All right. This one is from
Bernie.
I am quite into architecture and building/house designs. When designing and building on Mars, are things like architecture important, or is it mainly what's inside that matters?
So I really hope that in your lifetime, you're able to visit the architecture study, because I think that is what made me aware of the big picture. Everywhere I go, whatever I do, I always have that big picture with me, because otherwise, I don't want to say that life is hard, but there will always be a time of challenge where you just think like that. And it's so good to have a big picture, because even if that time seems impossible, you will understand that it's part of that pixel of the big picture. So you will anyway conquer it, because you understand it's so useful for the big picture. And that's what architecture is. We juggle with so many different actors. Like, let's say, if I want to design you a school, I don't necessarily have to be a teacher as an architect, but I can talk to teachers and students and you, how you practice this space, how people enjoy the patio for lunchtime, how kids would feel safe doing, recreation activities. So it's such an interesting thing, because we're like the bridge. So we're not the bricks of the wall, we're the mortar. So important to realize that you don't always have to be the brick. You can be the connector, just like what Claire and Christy, they do very well right now.
Oh, thank you.
Very kind. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I thought this was an interesting question. Do you base the Mars city designs, or probably any of the Mars city designs, on one of the famous Earth cities?
Yes, Lachlan. Thank you for this question. That is my dream. And at the moment, the plan is to do it in California, in the Mojave Desert. We're always looking for a bigger team to help us realize that. And it takes, unfortunately, very long to realize a building. It has so many aspects that would make that happen, from funding, politics, rules of the urban design, the landscapes, the environment, nature around it, and then your health. So there's so many things that should come into the same synergy at the right time. So it takes time, but yes, that's the plan. And I hope that we are able to also, instead of having one location, we're actually having one prototype to start with that will have a roving exhibition so that we could go to different places and showcase for like a month for each location. And of course, like, if you're sending me an email, I'll put everyone on the list of that invitation to visit when we happen to be at your location.
I love it. I love how you keep saying when.
Yes.
Claire, good. And then I have one from Barbara as well.
Okay. What is the most important part about designing architecture for Mars? And what is your favorite part?
Thank you, Taniesha. This is a very interesting question. From a lot of exercise and practice to do this, the most important part is to understand, of course, the challenge of the extreme environment on Mars, because we're designing for humans. But the second, there is no, it's not more important or less important. Just secondly, because it is designed for humans, we need to understand the comfort that will be provided for humans, because otherwise you're just designing for robots and it's not livable for long term. So we need to understand what would be the aspects of things that will make humans comfortable. For example, if we live in 1/3 gravity on Mars, for example, we will have to design the bed differently. We will also be aware that we will not move our body, cook, or we wouldn't use the door or window the same way as here. So I keep telling this to my students, like, please don't put IKEA, I have nothing against the brand, but I'm just saying any furniture or the way we are used to design a home on Earth, it will just totally be different. And my favorite part is the fact that after these years of research, we come down to have the best solution of human habitat on Mars, back to ancient time when humans are creating our own shelter. Basically we're going back to the primitive time of how homes look like, because it's so natural, it's so integrated into the landscape. It's not bothering any environment. There is no environment impact compared to if you just drop a a bomb and build something weird. Basically, what's interesting to me is really at the end, we're going back to that time, but with the new technology. So that's what I love, is the collapse of time from the past to the future.
That's so interesting to think about. I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I think that this next comment really plays into that as well, because there was a lot of beautiful structures on your video, but also they were really functional. And so Barbara Shaw wants to know if the design and art will take a backseat to the functionality, or can we have both?
We absolutely need to have both. So, for example, the neurosynthesis, where you see it looks like membrane with like different cells inside the structure, that was not just pretty, it was really practical, because we imagine that the transportation is going to be the flying drones, and that's how family would get out of their parking or home. And so nothing touched the ground because it's already protected from the outside membrane structure. But of course, that's like the futuristic version of what we're capable to do today. But yeah, it absolutely needs to satisfy both, you know. Good thought. Good question.
Mm-hmm.
So Haley wants to know, if you had to pick a different job than the one you have now, what would it be?
I don't see any other job I want to do. Possibly I would like to be a space flight attendant.
That's a job that doesn't exist yet.
Yes, please create one for me.
That's a great answer.
We just have to bring the door for that.
Yes. Right. Let's move the door. Where is the spaceship?
Yes. Okay.
What advice do you have for young girls who want to enter into STEM and space science fields in the future? From Daisy.
Oh, you should enjoy being surrounded by other smart people. Doesn't matter if you're girls or boys, and enjoy the fact that if you're doing it this year, meaning I believe that in the future there will be more STEM young girls everywhere. But yeah, in my university, for example, I was so grateful that I never need to wait in the women's bathroom because the man has a line and we don't.
It's a great way to see the positive side of that.
But yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's a privilege, basically. Even if there would be way more women, I heard that there are actually a lot more women than what people say already at NASA JPL, for example. It's just there is no. I don't think we're determined. We are determined to occupy certain professions because we're women. So, and again, bring that door.
That's right.
I'm going to start using that.
Yeah.
Doors. I love that. Okay, we've had some great questions. And I want to ask you one last one as we wrap up here, Vera.
That's great.
Is there a question that you wish would have been asked?
Oh, that's a good one. I can't think of I think you guys are super brilliant, and I'm just very fascinated by the progress that we have, and it's all because people like Dr. Shemitov create this kind of effort, and like it's, I don't know, I actually also create Martian fortune cookies. And inside, yes, you can check on Mars City Design Shop on the website. There is this amazing cookie factory in Silicon Valley up north that has been doing fortune cookie making from the traditional recipe of the grandmothers, their grandmother, 60 years ago. So what an amazing, and they have like this fascinating ingredients that is just always yummy. And inside you will have my Mars messages, and one would ask, what would be your name on Mars? So so what would be your name on Mars, Claire?
Oh man, put me on the spot. I'm supposed to ask you the questions. What would be my name on Mars?
I'll answer after.
That is a great question.
How about you, Christy?
Ooh. Can I steal the one from earlier and go with Sea Dog? I'm gonna steal his hashtag.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I didn't know either until this young kid, just brilliant. He right away answered me, and I was like, what kind of name is that? He said, well, what if on Mars all your name is going to be spelled backwards?
How do you say that?
So apparently it's going to be Arif for me. I don't know if that's...
I like that. Let's go with that. You can start that trend when you go. How about that?
Right. And by the way, we also provide Martian passports. It's actually a little small notebook, but there you go, Agent Mars. Well, it's really fun. And I think we should all start designing our habitats on Mars with the name tag, your Martian name tag on that door.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Vera. You have been an inspiration tonight, and thank you for sharing your genius with us.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I hope it's useful at some point.
Absolutely.
Okay. Enjoy, you guys. All right. Have a good evening, and I'll see you again next.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye, everyone. I love your Martian names, everyone, by the way. Let me know. I want to hear more. Okay,
Absolutely.
bye.
We'll see y'all.